Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Can Do Entertainment Presents May the Force Be With Who. And it's a special edition of May the Force Be With Who because we're going to be reviewing Batman the Killing Joke. And you may be asking, why are we reviewing Batman the Killing Joke? Well, because I said I'm going to take the show and do some things and expand. And because of the little fact that the Joker is played by Old Man Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. Now, as you can see by the DVDs I've got standing over here, Batman the Animated Series Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm a big Batman fan. See, Batman, Batman. Anyway, I want to go on record as saying that I think that the Batman animated series is probably not only the best animated series of all time, but I think it's one of the best shows of all time. And Kevin Conroy as Batman and Old Man Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill as the Joker, I think rank among the best iterations we've ever had of the character, along with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. Yes, I thought Affleck was good in B vs. S, even though people hated the movie. Whatever, that's another point, never mind. Anyway, we're here to talk about The Killing Joke. And if you're wondering why I just had the DVD, because I rented it, I haven't bought it yet because I'm a broke ass right now. But anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch. The Killing Joke is basically one of the top two acclaimed graphic Batman novels of all time. The other one being Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, which the DC Animated Universe did a couple years ago. They did it in part 1 and part 2, and then they made this amalgamation, one big long movie, which was really awesome. They had Peter Weller doing the voice of Batman. But we're not talking about The Dark Knight Returns. We're talking about The Killing Joke. And the awesome thing about The Killing Joke is that they brought back the majority of the voice cast from Batman the Animated Series. They brought back Kevin Conroy's Batman. They brought back Old Man Skywalker as the Mark Hamill as the Joker. They even brought back Tara Strong as Batgirl, and we will be addressing that. Yep, the elephant in the room, everybody. Okay, The Killing Joke, acclaimed graphic novel by Alan Moore. Basically, to make this a DC animated movie, they had to expand the story a little bit because the story as itself wouldn't have really stretched out to make an animated feature of about 75 minutes. So they padded the story a little bit and they expanded the role of Barbara Gordon / Batgirl. And they put this all in the beginning of the film as kind of like a prologue. And here's the elephant in the room. Now, I'm sure because this movie's been out for about a week and then they previewed it at Comic-Con, and I'm way behind the curve of getting this review out, that it's gotten some mixed reviews. People have hated it or not been real fond of where they went with this well, basically, let's just get it out in the open. Batman and Batgirl had sex on a roof! Okay, here's where I didn't have that big of a problem with it. Because in a callback to the episode Batgirl Returns in the original animated series, which ran from 1992 to 1999 on both Fox TV and the WB Kids Network, there was an episode called Batgirl Returns. It was the second appearance of Batgirl proper in the series. And she had a little dream sequence at the beginning of the episode where she fantasized of actually making out, getting it on with Batman. Then later, in Volume 4, when it switched over to Kids WB, where the art style changed and it basically became the new Batman / Superman adventures when it teamed up with the Superman animated show, and Barbara Gordon / Batgirl became Batman's primary partner instead of Robin, there was kind of a underlying sexual tension between the two of them. It even extended into the Batman Beyond series, where there was old grumpy ass Bruce Wayne and then a new Batman, Terry McGinnis, and then Barbara Gordon was the police commissioner at that time. And there were all these hints and references back to maybe something had happened between the two of them in the past. So the fact that in The Killing Joke, the part that they added on to expand the role, that hey, you know, there's this gangster named Paris Franz. Yeah, I'm not making this shit up. that Batgirl is trying to bring down, and Batman's thinking that she's getting too emotionally involved and it's a game for her. They, have some words, punches are flown, and it's a big emotional thing. And then Batgirl basically throws herself on Batman, and they start making out, and capes and cowls, and shirts come off, and then the camera pans away. But they give you the general impression that they did some bat sex, which okay, fine. But it was basically, the whole thing was to pad the story of the Killing Joke. And if you're familiar with the story of the Killing Joke, you know what happens to Barbara Gordon. Spoiler alert. The Joker shoots her and paralyzes her. So, seeing from beginning to end that, they kind of gave Barbara Gordon / Batgirl a little bit of extra story, I didn't have a problem with it because it did tie in with some of the old school Batman the Animated Series. But now that we've covered the whole prologue and Batman and Batgirl shagging on a rooftop, let's get to the Killing Joke proper. Because that's about 20 to 25 minutes of the beginning of the story. The Killing Joke proper, where we have Kevin Conroy returning as Batman and Old Man Skywalker, Mark Hamill returning as a Joker, which Mark Hamill is my Joker. I'm sorry. Actually, hell no, I'm not sorry. And this is not a Star Wars thing. Mark Hamill has the proper blend of psychopath and comedian in his performance in the Joker. And it's awesome. It just really is. And I know some people are like, oh, Heath Ledger is the greatest Joker of all. And I've said this since 2008. It didn't really work for me because I didn't find his Joker funny. You weren't supposed to find his Joker funny. Well, if you have the name Joker, I think that you ought to have a little bit of humor in the role, with the exception of the, I'm going to make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! That was the only thing I found funny about the Heath Ledger Joker. But anyway, moving on. The Killing Joke proper. It's basically almost a Joker origin story, where we kind of find out the one bad day that led the unnamed character, although in other media sources of the Joker we have been told his name was Jack. Oh hell, why am I blanking on that? Jack something, whatever it was in the Batman. Jack, whatever. They don't reference his real name in the Killing Joke, so I don't even know why I'm blanking on this. But we kind of see what decisions he makes that leads up to him being tossed into the chemical bath by Batman at Ace Chemicals when he's under the guise of the Red Hood, which turns him into the Joker. Now, the Joker's whole scheme in this whole thing is to basically show Batman through Commissioner Gordon that all it takes is one bad day for anybody to end up like the Joker. Whereas Batman is trying to come across to the Joker as like, hey, we can't keep going on the way that we're going on. Either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you, and there's got to be another way. And it's great performances by Kevin Conroy, great performances as always by Mark Hamill as a Joker. I do recommend it. I know a lot of people have had a problem with the prologue, the Batgirl stuff at the beginning, but if you're a fan of the Batman animated series, you'll get it. Trust me, you'll get it. And just treat it as a prologue to the story proper. It's 20 minutes. It's not that bad. Once you get into the full story, and with what happens with the Joker and Barbara Gordon, it does kind of make sense. And then there's a nice little mid-credit scene. Sorry, need to buy a vowel. There's a nice little mid-credit scene that, kind of sets up what happens to Barbara Gordon in the DC universe proper. As we all know, she ends up as Oracle. So that was really cool. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. Bruce Timm, who was the executive producer on Batman the Animated Series, came back to be the executive producer on The Killing Joke. Now, his previous movie he did for the DC animated universe was Justice League God and Monsters, and I can't highly recommend that one enough, but we're not talking about God and Monsters, we're talking about The Killing Joke. So, yeah, 2 big thumbs up. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The voice talent alone is worth the 4 out of 5. To hear Kevin Conroy being back as Batman, Mark Hamill back as the Joker, and Alan Moore's famous story of The Killing Joke. Now, yeah, the elephant in the room, Batman and Batgirl shagging in the 20-minute Batgirl story to pad things out. But you'll get it, especially if you dug the animated series, you'll get it. It's not that bad. All right, that's going to wrap things up from here. I recommend The Killing Joke, and I will see you at the next video. I need to get my Bloodlines review up. I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So hopefully I'll get that out at some point over the weekend. Alright everybody, keep on keeping on, and may the Force be with who?